Here it is, everybody, the 2019 Honda Monkey. Finally made it here to the US. Yeah, the rest of the world's already had it for quite a while now, but at least we finally got it. Finally got a chance to put a little bit of mileage on it, test it out, see how it feels. And today we're going to do a video on the bike itself, talk about it, review it, and then obviously compare it to the GROM, SF, and the OGs. Similarities, differences, and overall just impression of the whole bike. So stick around and hope you enjoy the video. Alright, so since we got to finally put some mileage on it, got to experience what it's like, to see what the difference is between this and the GROM. Obviously they both share very similar 125cc motors, so the power delivery is going to be very similar. The ECU is a little bit different between the two. Only Honda knows the exact coding on that. We won't really know until we really get it broken in and really get on the gas and do a little bit of drag racing between that one and a stock GROM. But overall, it's still the same motor, so you know you're not going to expect too much different than the GROM. But the difference, I think the biggest difference is the comfort of it. It's definitely more a cruiser type. You're going to be able to, obviously guys will probably stunt it and play around on it like a hooligan bike like they always do. But I can see this being more of the long mileage distance drivers. Maybe not replacing their GROM, but adding to it in the family. Because basically this thing's made to cruise and go distance. I can see a lot of guys that do the long distance hauls, put a lot of mileage, commute a lot, getting one of these because the seat is way softer, suspension's a little bit nicer. Obviously we're used to our bikes all have Öhlins on it, and this one's still stock, but we're going to get Öhlins shocks and Öhlins forks on it to make the ride a lot better because we all know that the stock one's kind of bouncy. But it does feel a little bit better. I mean, it's definitely more comfortable. It's definitely made, you know, to cruise and have fun and get out there and just put some mileage on it. So all you guys that really like doing high mileage, Juan, and all you other guys, this is probably going to be something you're going to want to look into. It's definitely got more room to stretch, per se. It just feels, even though it's very similar footprint to the GROM, it just feels a little bit bigger, I guess you could say. Definitely, I like the refinement as far as like the metal. I mean, they really, the paint jobs, you know, the color matching everything, the chrome, I mean, maybe it's not for everybody, but it really, I mean, you can't tell in the videos, you can't tell in pictures, but this is really nice stuff. This isn't like something you would have seen like 30 years ago, you know, and just kind of look cheaply made. This really looks quality. I mean, you got the chrome fenders front and rear. I'm sure a lot of guys are going to want to take these front fenders and try to retrofit them on the GROM to get that more dirt bike look to them. You got the tires, a little bit taller profile than the GROM. They're 80s instead of 70s. A little bit slightly more off-road style tire. Obviously it's made for the road, but you can see that the tread pattern in it is quite more aggressive to go, probably a little bit more trail riding. After all, the original version of this was a trail bike. And the brakes can be the same. The rotors are the same. The pads are a little bit different, so maybe they changed the compound out. But fundamentally, it's the same size and everything. Similar size caliper. So obviously, we're going to try to get a Brembo upgrade kit on that at some point. So basically, coming back, the steering feels about the same. The rake and trail is very similar. Obviously, the weight of it's very similar. But the biggest thing, again, is it's, to me, after riding it, it's I would say like the GROM is a little sportier version. This one's more cruiser, comfortable. By no means is this a slouch, and by no means is the GROM a sport bike, but just comparing them apples to apples. This one's got a really cool screen. They did a really good job with this new screen, all LCD. Basically, the fundamental controls are going to be the same thing. You got these ugly mirrors. Some guys like them, but those will be going away real fast. But coming back here, obviously you got this huge air box. We'll be pulling that off, putting a Chimera on it for sure, because that thing's just heinously ugly. But it is nice to be able to put our sticker there. But otherwise, it's just huge and gaudy, and it'll clean it up nicely. The clutch cover here, even though it looks totally different than the GROM, the gasket's the same, so the Kotaco clutch cover will fit on there. So the only obviously thing is you're going to have, if you get the Kotaco cover, you're going to have a different exhaust that makes some clearance for the cover, so it either has to go under it or has more clearance. So that is very important. If you get the clutch cover, you're going to need to get a different exhaust. The exhaust canister, it looks great. There's going to be a lot of guys that just want to leave it for that classic look. There's already company, Yoshi's got systems and slip-ons available, or coming soon, for the guys that want to clean it up and lighten it up, knock off some weight. But, I mean, it looks good. It's got a nice heat shield on it, but I think everything just complements the whole bike. Is just, it's aesthetically just like a little bit more classy, I guess, than a Grom, as far as a classic, I should say, not classy. But, I mean, you still are going to get the fundamental feel of a Grom. It's just more comfortable, a little bit easier to ride, I'd say, and you're sitting back a little bit farther on it. The seat's way better. You got twin shocks instead of a single shock, so if you've really gotten the feel of your Grom and you really know what it feels like, then having twin shocks versus a single, it is gonna feel a little bit different. So, but that's not something I can really explain on video. It's just a different bike. You know what I mean? Yes, they're gonna feel very similar, but at the same time, it is a different bike. So don't feel like hey, if I get that, it's just another more expensive Grom. I mean, it's made for a different target demo as far as the guys that are going to want different styling and to ride a little bit longer maybe. Sure, there's guys that put tons of miles on their Grom, but this to me is going to be more for those guys. It's going to be interesting to see. I believe that this bike is going to be a good addition to the Grom. I don't think it's going to replace a lot of Groms. I think it's going to be an addition to the family. They'll add it, in there for their cruiser, for their daily commuter. It's a fun bike, though. I mean, it really is. It's fundamentally, it's just a fun bike to ride, just like everybody already knows with the Grom. And we definitely are loving it so far. So other changes, obviously, the rear is totally different than the Grom. New taillight, obviously huge chrome blinkers. Again, the theme of the bike, chrome, 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 chrome. Obviously, the swing arm, totally different. It's just a solid steel stamped swing arm. Old school adjusters like a dirt bike. That's kind of disappointing, but not a big deal. Whereas the Grom, you have this much beefier box style swing arm with a single monoshock in the middle. The bars, obviously same concept, but new triple clamps, new design bars, chrome again with the whole theme. Everything on this thing is chrome. So if you don't like chrome, a Monkey's not going to be for you. But obviously you can always pull all this stuff off and get something else, switch it over to carbon. But that's kind of like the whole theme of this thing is chrome, classic, beautiful paint job. I mean, just Honda's always had good paint, but this stuff to me is just amazing. All the way down to the frame, matching anodized forks. It's going to be guys that want to get probably these fork guards for the ones that use Dula off-road. If they're switching out their fenders, then you don't have any protection anymore, so you're probably going to want to pick up some of these fork guards. I don't know if you can see it here. I know a lot of guys are really into keys and how they look and stuff. It's kind of a new key for Honda. I mean, these have been in cars for a long time, but it's the reverse style key. It's pretty cool. It's a nice solid key. No more switchblade key like the last SF, but it's still pretty cool overall. Over here, you got some cool little features here. You got the helmet lock, which is a nice addition. This is actually where your toolkit is. So you pull these little popper rivets off here, put your key in here, turn that, and pop it off there. Your tools in here, access to some of your wiring and stuff, but it's a little different and unique. And popping that off, little toolbox here. Basic, normal tools, fuse puller, cable, Allen, Phillips head. Interesting. Any of you that are unfamiliar with how these little Honda push pins work, basically when they're in there, you push them down first, that releases them, then you pull them out. Take the push pin, put it in there, the first click, leave the stub out, then take that, put it in the hole, and then push that last pin in. And obviously this is a little tricky to put in. Again, this is silly, but I'm just showing you because I just realized it is kind of a pain. You gotta make sure it goes inside these tabs here and there, otherwise the holes won't line up. A little tedious, but just showing you a little heads up. Little helmet lock here. Turn the key, unlocks it. Put your clip on your helmet in there. Push the key up, the tab up, and then your helmet lock stayed on there. Obviously, somebody could still cut your little strap on your helmet, but at least it's a little bit less easier than somebody just snagging it off your handlebars. Nice little addition. And for you of those that need a little bit more, there's actually a special cable in the toolbox that will go around this, and then you can put that off of your helmet clip, and that way it can hang a little bit farther down and not jammed up in there. If you need some extra room, that's kind of nice. But real quick, the reason why your toolkit's in here, because that's it. That's your storage. This seat is bolted on. So if that's important to you to have a little storage underneath the seat, that's something to think about. So it's a little different than the GROM. A little annoying, I'd say, in the grand scheme of things, to not have quick, easy storage for some small stuff without having to unbolt your seat. I think that's definitely one thing they missed the mark on that one for sure. As you can see here, totally new headlight, very cool LED. Turn it on, show what you look like. So you got LED running light there, little halo ring, and then you got a upper and a lower, which of course don't turn on until you start the bike. There's your lower, there's your upper. I don't know how well that comes through on the screen, but it's pretty bright. So then we go to the motor. Obviously, you can see now it's a silver motor instead of a black one. So that's kind of cool, different, but essentially still the same 125 cc's. Fuel injected. It's actually got the same fuel injector as the GROM, slightly different throttle body. Same concept with the heat plug here. Measure the temperatures. Overall, similar system. Biggest thing, obviously, again, it's silver. Show you the power on here. Pretty cool. I don't know how well you can see that. Kind of blinks at you. Everything's there. As you can see, only 3 miles. It started raining out while we were out and about, so I had to turn around and come back. But enough to feel what the bike feels like as far as ride and comfort. And we did get to ride one ahead of time before we got this one. And the new taillight. And like we were mentioning earlier, old school dirt bike chain adjusters. That's a bummer, but it is what it is. Here we have the brake side. And world's smallest header pipe goes to a cat converter, loops around here, and this is where you would install a slip-on. You would just remove that part for a slip-on versus a full system. I see most guys probably gonna go with a full system, considering you save a lot more weight and get a little bit more horsepower than you would a slip-on, because you're getting rid of that cat converter. And the forks are essentially the same thing, but there is a little bit difference inside, so Olin's had to make a new fork kit for it. We'll find out eventually when we tear these apart and install the Olins, but they look pretty close. Same fork caps on the top. So there we are, the new 2019 Honda Monkey, and hope you enjoyed our video. If you did, please subscribe. Click on that button right there and hit the subscribe button, and right next to it hit the bell. If you're already a subscriber, just don't forget to hit that bell so you get reminders of when we make new videos, and we really appreciate your support. We can't do it without you guys, and we just really means a lot to us for all your support. And if you liked the video, please leave a comment. If you didn't like the video, please leave a comment. If you have ideas for new videos, leave a comment. We want to hear from you guys. Just let us know what you think. And if you have any questions or parts you want for the Honda Monkey, we've got a full list of parts available now. And of course, we're going to be adding new parts all the time. So check out our website at HardRacing.com. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, forums, you name it. We're out there. So just check us out. and let us know if we can help you out. HardRacing.com.